like endless rain into a paper cup. They slither wildly as they slip away across the universe. Pools of sorrow, waves of joy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Source Material Podcast. We've gotten our dad talk out of the way. We got Colton, his at least first of three trips down here is out of the way. And tonight on the Source Material Podcast, we're going to be talking Ray Palmer. The search for Ray Palmer, otherwise known as the Atom, DC's Atom, the guy who can shrink, and he can also, I don't know if he can get, I don't know if he's got like Ant-Man ability where he can get, or Giant Man ability where he can increase his size, but we definitely know for a fact that he can get really, really tiny. You know, I chose this story. And
yeah, why did you? What possessed you to do this? Well, let's go back, because last year we did Salvation Run.
Yes.
Right? Salvation Run comes at the end of Flash Born to Run, which is some iteration of the Flash who dies at the end of that series. Like 12 issues long. On the way to Countdown, there's like a series of things that happen. One of which was Salvation Run, another of which was, I think, World War III. And then eventually Countdown comes along. At the end of Countdown...
Yeah, we have Infinite Crisis, because this is the countdown to Infinite Crisis. Which I
fucking read. I read that when I was trapped in the jail during a hurricane.
Yeah.
I don't remember a bit of what I read. I don't understand what that story was about. And by the end of it, I wanted to walk into the hurricane.
Something had occurred where we were, I think it might have been when we were reading Red Sun. And that's where I think this, the idea for this began, because we had read that story and we were talking about, you know, this alternate universe where Superman was raised in Russia. And then at the end of that, we were kind of looking at other books where this had, like, that iteration had occurred. One of which was The Search for Ray Palmer. And I got to reviewing those books. And then I saw Red Rain, which is a book we've never read on here, but I had heard about. Also, Gotham by Gaslight. I saw that listed there. I was like, oh, man. So my initial expectation, Mark, my initial expectation
was that this would make sense.
Well, yeah.
You were wrong, sir.
Yeah. You know, I thought that this was going to be a standalone story where Ray Palmer I don't know if he gets just shot across different iterations of the DC universe, and then some people got to go and try and find him and rescue him. That's kind of what I thought was going to happen here. What I didn't realize was that we were smack dab in the middle of Countdown to Infinite Crisis. Wow, that was a mistake on my part, because there is a lot of stuff going on.
I feel like I'm mad at you about this.
I wouldn't blame you. Here's the thing. I wouldn't blame you, because I thought about this as I was reading it. I was like, well, this is kind of hard to keep track, number one, and it feels like there's pieces missing. Why does pieces feel like they're missing? Oh, well, if you look at the issue covers, Mark, you'll see, and I didn't even notice this until right before I got on the podcast. Sorry, I'm looking at Countdown. So yeah, here's Red Rain. Now, if you look down by the UPC, you'll see it says Countdown 25. And then if you look at the previous book to that, I wouldn't say that's previous. It's a book that occurred after that. The one by that says Gotham by Gaslight. It's Countdown 23. So I don't know if these are issues that shoot off from the Countdown series or are actually an essential part of what the Countdown series is. Now, to all of you out there that don't know what the hell Countdown is, I've got a synopsis here for you. Pretty much there was 52 issues of Countdown, starting with issue 51, counting all the way down to issue 0. And so they proceed in a backwards order. You follow me, Mark?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So the countdown numbers that we were seeing on the bottom of these by the UPCs on the cover, like Countdown 23 makes me think, oh crap, is that the actual 23rd issue in the Countdown series? And then we're missing what's going on in between. Either way, they put this shit in a trade and called it The Search for Ray Palmer. So this is actually in trade form, all the books that we read. The problem is...
with no conclusion. I read 2 more issues of Countdown. that at least somewhat conclude the Ray Palmer story. Because here's the problem: there is an end to it where Ray explains what happened to him, where he's been. It turns out he's been on one of the other Earths. I think that Ray is gone, and he kind of took over his life. And when the Monitor figured out, now this is spoilers. It's basically going to ruin the whole end of the story for you, but
that's what we do here on the Source Material podcast.
But basically, when the Monitor figured out that Ray was sort of illegally living in another universe, which I didn't realize that was a thing. With all of the universe hopping that happens, apparently you're not allowed to just take up fucking residence in another universe. Just be like, I live here now. So the Monitor goes like kill Ray, and then they're trying to save him. And as it turns out, though, and this is where I lost track of what I was reading. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. But apparently, like Bob, it was trying to become this.
Bob the Monitor
was trying to become like the only Monitor, and I don't know. There was something else that was going on with the Monitors of greater significance than just what happened with Ray Palmer. But getting back to Ray. With everything that happened in Identity Crisis, which that's a book that's worth reading.
Yeah,
Identity Crisis is absolutely worth talking about on here. I read it just to read it last year. I think I was still taking my kid to the park, so I would read comics in the park while he was playing, because why watch a child, right?
We got better and more important things to do.
I'm not watching him go down the slide 50 fucking times. Fuck you.
Good job. Do it again.
So I was reading Identity Crisis in the park, and it's great. But I think with everything that happened with Identity Crisis, Ray was like this, and what happened with the Justice League, Ray is like, fuck this place. And he goes through the multiverse to find as close to a situation as he had on Earth 1. And he does, and he finds it. And he finds an Earth where the Justice League fucking wiped out Supercrime.
Yeah.
And everyone's wife is still alive.
Yep.
And he's living there until the champions of the universe, or whatever the fuck they're called, and then Bob the Monitor show up, and Bob's like, "You must die now."
Yeah. Well, and that was great. If there was one part of this story that I actually enjoyed, was the fact that I thought that Bob was there to help them find Ray Palmer. I didn't realize he was going to, use the Challengers, which end up being they're called the Challengers, but it's Jason Todd, the Red Hood, and it's also Donna Troy and Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern. So they are
not in his Ion form, by the way.
That's correct. And they are assisting Bob, and they're spanning those universes. But anyway, right at the end, where fucking Bob's like, "Hey, we found Ray Palmer," and he's like, "Now you're gonna die." And I'm like, "Oh, wait a second." Flash goes after him, and the Flash of that Earth gets fried,
vaporized,
immediately. So I think that was probably, if anything, the brightest spot out of this whole story. But anyway, I interrupted you. Was there anything else you were trying to finish before I interrupted you?
Here's the thing: like the trades don't incorporate those two issues of Countdown, and then I actually kept reading because the story doesn't naturally conclude either. Like it just keeps going. But now the focus shifts from Ray Palmer to the bigger issues with the Monitors, and I couldn't fucking handle that. Someday you're gonna be like, let's do an entire month dedicated to Countdown, and I'm gonna be like, let's do an entire month dedicated to fuck off.
Hey, let me read you this customer review from Arrow Rep on Amazon Prime. The last sentence: the lack of any resolution or chemistry among the protagonists make this another underachieving Countdown tie-in, a situation made worse given the need of favorable support of the story. So, there was hardly any resolution at all.
There's no resolution.
Yeah.
There's no resolution till you get to Countdown.
Mm-hmm.
And it even says that in the Batwoman Superwoman book, which is the last world they visit, like to be continued in the next issue of Countdown. Which I don't remember what issues those were that I told you. I think it was like 18. I think 18 and 17 pretty much wrap up the story, and then 16 they're into something else.
Okay, so let's back up real quick. Now what I'll do real quick is I'll kind of talk about what the Countdown event was, just real quick. Like I said, it was a Countdown event leading up to the 2007, or no, this took place in 2007, and it was leading up to Final Crisis. Now, the series of Final Crisis deals with an alien villain Darkseid's deals with alien villain Darkseid's plot to overthrow reality and the subsequent death and corruption of various DC characters and their universe. So, yeah, it was a big event, happened between 2008 and 2009, but Countdown to Infinite Crisis took place in 2007. So here's the deal. We have 52 Earths. Okay. Now, I sent Mark Radulich the Wikipedia to all the 52 Earths for DC. Mark Radulich said, I am not reading that shit. You can not count me in on that. But I can tell you that the Wikipedia for DC Multiverse Worlds is insane. It is very long. Like, I'm talking like the first pre-52 or pre-crisis, I think, worlds. I mean, there was over 100. And then you get into the stuff that's happening here where there's this occurs, I think, after the 52 event, where there are 52 worlds. All right. And if you'll notice, on the top of every issue of Countdown Ray Palmer, the search for Ray Palmer, there's a couple of numbers after that. And that actually designates the world that these challengers are going to, trying to find Ray Palmer. And what's neat is you can go to the Wikipedia and match that up and figure out which world they're on and where that world has appeared in previous issues. So the challengers, like I said, we got Jason Todd, we got Donna Troy, we have Bob the Monitor, who is, on the search for Ray Palmer to try and because he's supposedly, you're led to believe that Ray Palmer's got the key to stop this universal crisis, this multiversal crisis. And we also have Kyle Rayner, just like you said, not the Ion form, but he is Green Lantern. So they are tracking, and as to how, I mean, they just have this technology that they can read the signature. And Mark, I have no idea, but people are getting branded with like the little atom symbol. They'll catch up, like in the first issue, I think they catch up with some people. Well, actually, I don't even know if they find him there, but I know in the gender swapped world, they find the female Atom who's got like a thing on her arm. I don't understand what the deal is, and they don't even go into that. And they don't even explain like why he's going to these worlds and what he's doing there. Was that something that I missed, or did they just completely leave that out? Why is Ray Palmer doing this?
I don't remember.
I have no idea. I don't think it's explained. I think he's just going across.
Yeah, the only thing I remember about the Countdown issues that I read were that, again, he was sad about everything that happened in Identity Crisis. And then was like, I went to go find a world where I'd be happy. And as far as branding people, I haven't the faint. Like, you're made to believe during the search for Ray Palmer that he had a bigger agenda. And then it turns out his agenda was, I just want to live in a world that's happy.
Yeah. And this is unfortunate because, again, it's smack dab in the middle of this 50-plus issue crossover or 50-plus issue event. And, yeah, they did put this in a trade. This is in a trade paperback that you can buy. But just like you said, Mark, there's no resolution. It's hard to follow. And there's definitely, like, pieces of this puzzle that are missing. But here's what we're going to do. I'm going to try and just read real quick from the wiki, kind of give an idea of what sets up these issues. We'll talk a little bit about the issues, and then we'll just kind of give our overall final thoughts, which you kind of already touched on already, but we'll say it again. If there's anything that you want to talk about here, Mark, you hop right in and say something. Like I said, I just went and grabbed from the wiki, okay, because I had a hard enough time trying to make sense of what I was reading in the first place versus what all came before it. So, all right, in New York City, former Robin Jason Todd, now calling himself the Red Hood, is witness to the murder of Duella Dent. You ever heard of Duella Dent, Mark Radulich?
Yeah, she's the Joker's daughter.
Okay. He's witness to the murder of Duella Dent at the hands of a rogue monitor. Okay. Now, the monitors are these. There's, I think, one's assigned to each universe, and they're there to make sure. The idea I got was to make sure that one, what would you call it? One anomaly doesn't show up in another universe. So if Ray Palmer going into another universe would be considered an anomaly. So a rogue monitor shows up and murders Duella Dent. The monitor claims that her presence in this world is not tolerated as she is from an alternate Earth. Jason later meets former Wonder Girl Donna Troy. Now, see, Mark, you remember the conversation that we had with Al Sedano, and he was talking about how convoluted Wonder Woman's origin was and how it just seemed like she shouldn't have been like part of the continuity.
He wasn't even referring to Donna Troy, the Wonder Girl.
Yeah. Did I say Wonder Woman? I meant Wonder Girl. Yeah. Jason later meets former Wonder Girl Donna Troy after the other Teen Titans later pay their respects to Duella Dent's grave, and speculates that the two of them, like Duella, may not belong in this reality either. During the Amazons' attack on Washington, D.C., Jason and Donna discuss the Monitors and the original Monitor and Anti-Monitor when they are attacked by the Forerunner. All this stuff, have no idea. I'm just reading from the wiki. Who had been sent by the Monitors. Another Monitor arrives to save Jason and Donna from the Forerunners and takes them to safety. So this is probably Bob. Bob shows up, saves Donna Troy and Jason Todd. At the funeral of the Flash, Bart Allen, which is the Flash that you were talking about, I think, that died, the Monitor tells Jason and Donna that the former Adam, Ray Palmer, is alive and lost somewhere in the Nanoverse, and that locating him is key to surviving the coming crisis. Donna, Jason, and the Monitor, nicknamed Bob by Jason, meet with current Adam, Ryan Choi, in Ivytown to recruit him in the search for Ray Palmer. Searching for him within the microscopic nanoverse, they are captured by Queen Belthera and are later rescued by Kyle Rayner. So here's where Kyle Rayner comes in, before Ryan Choi is abducted back into Ivytown. Okay, all right, so there's where the Ryan leaves. Kyle informs the group that they will have to tour the multiverse to find Ray Palmer. Okay, so that's kind of how we set up what's happening. None of that gets explained to us. We're just thrown right into the first adventure, which is on the Wildstorm universe. Now, Mark, do you know anything about the Wildstorm universe?
Not a clue.
Okay. All right. Did you ever read anything? Man, did any of those characters look familiar at all? Like the Authority or Stormwatch or Majestic? None of those? Okay. All right. I'll take that as a no. And that's fine, because Wildstorm, this was back in the 90s when Jim Lee came out with Wildcats. He did Stormwatch. He had all sorts of stuff and what they called their Wildstorm universe there in Image Comics in the 90s. It ends up getting sold, kind of sits in limbo for a few, and then gets sold to DC. DC uses it for a little while and then kind of sets it back and doesn't use a lot of the characters. Well, of course, the explanation for that is that the Wildstorm universe takes place in a different DC multiverse. Whatever Earth this was, I can't even remember. There you go. That's the Wildstorm. They go and they try to find Ray Palmer there. Can't find him. And then we hop into the next one, the next Earth, which was the Jokester's last laugh. This is the one that kind of tells the origin story of the Jokester, which is think of the Joker, but think of a good guy, all right, who's battling the crime society, I think is the name of that one. Yeah, he fights against the crime society, which composed of Ultraman, what's the girl's name? Power Woman, and Owlman. So obviously Owlman is the opposite of Batman, but this one just kind of stuck out like a sore thumb. It was an origin story, and then I think the challengers show up like for a quick second at the end. Just in time for Jokester to kind of like hop into their portal and be whisked away. And then there was a little bit of some important stuff in here, because the Jokester, I think, is Duella's father, and that might be how they tie him in to Duella Dent and how she showed up on our universe.
It was fun to see the Joker as like the hero.
You've watched some stuff with the Crime Society in it, haven't you?
Yeah, I think I saw one of the DC animated movies had like the Crime Syndicate in it. Mm-hmm. And every time I see Crime Syndicate, I keep thinking of Ice-T's Rhyme Syndicate.
I can't say. Now, I love Ice-T. I know you do. But the Rhyme Syndicate? Well,
Rhyme Syndicate, baby.
I don't remember that. All right. So they can't find Ray Palmer there. Like I said, this is just an origin story for the Jokester. Little to do with the overall story. However, he does hop into the transport. Like, he jumps in when they transport into their portal, and I assume he ends up on another Earth, but it's the last time we see him in the Search for Ray Palmer series. Then we go into Red Robin. Yum. The Red Robin issue, where this takes place in Red Rain. It's a very famous Elseworlds story where Batman gets turned into a vampire. Clearly, you probably picked up on that when you were reading it, where Batman was, he is a disfigured vampire on this Earth. And it's interesting because, you have Jason Todd who's there, but the synopsis says, in Gotham, where vampires exist, the challengers must stop a vampire hunter from killing the vampire lord of the city, Batman. And really the big thing out of this is they encounter this horrifying vampire version of Batman. Not really a whole lot else happens here. They can't find, obviously Ray Palmer's not here. This isn't paradise for him. But what'd you think of Red Robin here? Anything stick out to you other than...
I'm going to be honest, all of these, The ones that I liked were I liked the bit with Joker as the good guy. From a visual aspect, this gender swapped world was fun to watch.
Oh,
just because like seeing the dude in basically Wonder Woman's armor, I was like he looked a little drag queenish. Like
Wonder Man, yes, he did.
It's like they stuck Hercules in Wonder Woman's outfit, bra, like chest and all.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think he'd really look like that. I'm just saying, I don't think that would be the armor he'd be wearing. It's literally like they should have broken out into the lumberjack song. We like to wear women's clothes. And that's all I can think about during that entire issue was Hercules running around in women's underpants. Let's see, the Gotham by Gaslight one, that was kind of fun. That had a cinematic aspect to me. The idea of there's this thing on the loose. I guess it's like some iteration of oh God,
it's Man-Bat.
Man-Bat.
Yep.
Like Man-Bat's on the loose in Victorian England, and Batman's a detective looking for it, and these four show up.
Yeah.
And that actually had a fun story to it. I like that one. The Wildfire one, the Red Rain, which is I guess where Batman's a vampire. Like I no interest in that one.
Okay. Red Sun.
Oh, I mean, I like that world, but I see. Here's the problem with it, right? When Red Sun concluded perfectly. It was like we had that debate over whether or not it's a circular loop or not.
Yeah.
I don't totally remember how Red Sun ends, but we had a really fun conversation about how that book ends. I just kind of thought it ended perfectly that way. So kind of going back to it, I'm like, everything you needed to say with Red Sun, you said already. There's no reason to come back to this Earth.
Did you have any sense that what was happening was actually occurring during the events of Red Sun? Because doesn't Batman put the bomb in his stomach and blow himself up?
I vaguely remember that.
I can't remember that story now, but I swear when I was reading it, I was like...
But that's the problem with going back to it. If you go back to it, nowhere in Red Sun did Kyle Rayner show up.
No, none of them showed up. Yeah, I see. None of that happens, and I was wondering if maybe what we were seeing here was taking place... I don't know if they're transversing time as well, but it seemed like when Wonder Woman was tied up with her lasso, I swear I remember that happening in Red Sun as well.
Oh, that definitely happens. Yeah, Batman, he's trying to talk sense to her.
Yeah. And from what we saw in this issue, it looked like Donna Troy did that to her. Yeah, it definitely felt like that was happening during those events, and they had it. Now all of a sudden they have a hand in it. But yeah, you're right. It was a good story. Leave it alone. So you already talked about Superwoman, Batwoman. Then I guess we've covered them all. Let's talk about the final two, which was it 18 and 17 or 19 and 18? This backwards fucking shit.
18 and 17.
Okay, so. All right, so we finally get to Earth 51. All right, now just like you said, this is an Earth where the heroes have wiped out crime, super crime, and hell, they were even saying Superman hardly even puts his uniform on, other than just at Christmas time to deliver food to places. And so it's a real peaceful world. Ray Palmer goes there and meets up with his wife. Now, this Identity Crisis that's the one where Sue Dibney gets killed, right?
Yep.
Okay, I've never read that.
It's really good.
Yeah, you said it's good. I've never read it. But it's Adam's wife or girlfriend who kills her. Apparently, she's like an evil, souped-up version or something, right?
I don't remember a lot of the specifics, but basically, I feel like I don't want to start throwing stuff out there and it's inaccurate, but
oh, wait, no problem there. We do that all the time.
I'd have to. I remember liking it a lot, and I remember it being a big mystery as to who killed Sue Dibney, and there were a lot of false flags and turns in the narrative, but I don't totally remember what the details were.
I think that's the reason why in that final issue we have that fight between Mary Marvel and Eclipso. I think Eclipso is Ray Palmer's ex-wife, the one who killed Sue Dibney, I believe. So that's kind of why we're seeing both of those stories happen in that final issue. But yeah, Bob shows up. The Challengers finally find Ray Palmer. We find out that Bob hasn't exactly been looking for Ray Palmer to rescue him. He's been looking at him to eliminate him because he's a anomaly in that universe. Ray Palmer, he showed up there, found his wife who was, still alive. He found his, all of his friends were still alive. Sue Dibney's still alive. And he also found his counterpart who ended up, I think, vaporizing himself, accidentally killing himself. So Ray Palmer of the DC universe that we know steps in and says, hey, it just takes up his role. And what he realizes is this iteration of Ray Palmer was a little bit behind time wise. So he was able to, he was able to start I think it was like the first night he ever met his future wife. So he kind of picks up where he leaves off, falls in love with his wife. And then of course he starts having these nightmares about the fact that he's replaced this guy. Bob shows up. All hell breaks loose with the Challengers. The battle with Bob, like I said, doesn't go so well. The group dinner, we got people dying left and right, including Ray's wife. She gets killed. He's trying to save her, and she gets killed. Yeah, the group then arrive on Earth 51. They locate Ray, living the life of his deceased counterpart. Bob reveals himself to have been working for Solomon's cause and tells Ray that he must be exterminated. The Challengers attempt to stop Bob, who succeed in killing the alternate versions of Barry Allen, Ralph Dibney, and Jean Loring. That's her name, Jean Loring. But Ray and the Challengers are able to escape. So that is kind of where we leave the story of the search for Ray Palmer. They head back to the regular Earth. Supposedly, the crisis still continues. Mark Radlich, I don't know why. I have no idea. I don't know why I put you through this. All I know is I thought it would be fun because we'd be revisiting, the Elseworlds. I'm an Elseworlds fan. I love those stories. Uh-huh. We looked over Red Sun. We've talked about doing Gotham by Gaslight. Isn't that on the schedule at some point?
We're doing Gotham by Gaslight later this year.
Yeah. And so I was like, man, this will be fun to talk about. And
No, it wasn't.
You can't throw us. Yeah, I couldn't pick a more convoluted story to hop into doing Elseworlds stuff with. So, here's the thing. This is not Exiles, okay? Marvel's Exiles is a perfect example of a reality hopping group that does it well. There is near the end of the first run of Exiles, they do what they call the World Tour, which is very similar to what we see here, where they go into Marvel 2099. They go into the Heroes Reborn universe. They go into all these different universes of Marvel what if history, I guess you would say. And if you don't know much about the Exiles, Mark, they're kind of like if you remember Quantum Leap, they are the group that strives to set right what once went wrong, directed by somebody to, okay, you got to go into this universe and you have to fix this. You have to go over here and fix that. And there's so many universes that they go into. One where Tony Stark is he's an insane dictator, and they have to face him, and he's almost wiped out all the superheroes. They do that so great. I thought that's what we would have here, but instead we have one issue, quick hits. Oh, hey, Ray Palmer's not here. Oh, hey, it was nice running into you guys. Okay, see you later. Oh, there was nothing to the story. So, as depressing as that is, I also have to kind of counter that with, I understand we're in the midst of a 50-issue story arc, and these were parts of that story arc, and we may have missed a few things in between. Unfortunately, it does not translate well outside of the story as a whole. So,
no, but I think this is, I've complained about this before about DC, where I feel like a lot of their events, you can't just pick up and read without
knowing what came before.
Yeah, the fact that so they've rebooted the universe. So the Marvel rebooted their universe once. Okay, with the last iteration of Secret Wars.
Yeah, and I don't even know if you can call that a reboot, because there's still shit that's still around that's not, that was from the original. Spider-Man to me still feels like the Spider-Man to me a little bit. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
But I mean, as far as like continuities go, I mean, they've added stuff here, like I think like original Sin, they've gone back and retconned certain things and added certain things. But for the most, I think, for a while they played around with Captain America. It was actually a Hydra, whatever. And I don't know how that eventually resolved itself. But I mean, the problem, that's the thing with Marvel, though. I feel like Marvel does a really good job of setting up places where you can just jump in at the beginning of a story and not really need to know what was going on in the greater universe. Like, I've picked up several Marvel trades and I've never been like, I don't know what the fuck I'm reading here. That happens almost every time I pick up a DC thing. Which doesn't really lend itself to selling more books. Like, I'm more drawn to reading Marvel than I am DC because I'm not following a year's worth of comic books here. I'm picking up a trade here or there to read, on a weekend when I'm not watching TV or whatever. And I think individually with some of the stuff you can do that. You like if you pick up like Harley Quinn Volume 1, you can get it. Like I didn't really need to know what came before that. I got it. She moved to Brooklyn. She was distancing herself from the Joker, and she was starting a new life. Just as another example, I read Batman Rebirth. I started that at number 1. I didn't necessarily need to know what had happened in the New 52. They were starting a new story with Tom King, and it just went on from there. I'll walk back some of what I said. You can pick up certain things, but I feel like their big events are so convoluted that it's not really worth reading for me. I mean, like just me and you, and we're like smart guys, but me and you trying to figure out the timeline.
Well, it didn't help when each book was numbered number 1. Call it fucking Search for Ray Palmer number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, but not Search for Ray Palmer Red Rain number 1 and this number 1 and that number 1. And I was like, first off, okay, I'm kind of confused there.
Right.
And then we've got to figure out where these guys are going and what world this is. And some of that's fun. It's neat to see those alternate takes. But
it needed to be bookended. Like, yes. If you're gonna, like, here's the thing: if you're gonna put together a trade paperback, go through the effort of saying, here's the issue that preceded this. Because I mean, if you read the wiki, something did precede it, but it took place at another countdown. That's what I thought this would be. Because I don't mind the fact that it's set it up as here's the prologue, here's the epilogue.
Yeah.
Don't just be like, here are these Elseworlds stories that connect to nothing. Have fun.
Man, I'm on the wiki for all these DC multiverses, and it's insane how large this page is, considering you have them broken up between pre-crisis and post-crisis. That's the first section. Then there's the yellow ones, which are unclassified. Then you have the 52, which are the 52 that we're talking about right here, which is post-52. And then after that, that's in the red. And then after that, you have the new 52 and DC Rebirth, which there are specifically, there's 52, there's all the way up to Earth 51, and then there's 53rd World. So they skip Earth 52 for some reason, which maybe that's because there's an Earth 0. Let me see. Yep, there's an Earth 0. So that's just trying to understand. Oh, wait a second. Sorry, Mark Radowitz. There's the Dark Multiverse. Don't forget about those guys.
I'm about ready to start throwing shit.
The Arrowverse. Also, this includes the Arrowverse. Holy shit. Wow. Earth 47, Harrison Lothario Wells. Earth 48, home to a bounty hunter killer who had a magical knife that can penetrate force fields. Earth 35, the Earth that has the ability to ride unicorns. The Chronicles of Cisco. Oh, okay. I was wondering how in the hell are they getting these? Dude, Infinite Crisis, Smallville. Just imagine trying to pack all that in. But anyway, people have their Wikipedia fingers cut out for them doing this shit. I'm ready to call this a night. This has been our coverage of whatever
we want to call it.
Whatever we made sense of. Us attempting to make sense of the search for Ray Palmer.
I'm on alltimelines.com, and I'm looking at the DC Comics multiverse chronology. It is 76 pages long.
Are you kidding me? Oh, you have to send me that link. I would like to see what that looks like. What is it called? All chronology?
Alltimelines.com. And
that's got to have all sorts of great stuff in it.
Yeah.
Just aside from that, all timelines.
This is the ultimate DC reading order. And it assembles all the DC graphic novels together into one place.
Timeline. So yeah, if there's one thing that I've taken away from this, it's that
Read Marvel.
Jesse, do a little bit more research before you suggest what you think is going to be a fun DC multiverse romp. Just take a look and see what you're getting into, which I did not do. So I'll be ready for that. You know what? We're gonna ditch the cosmic and we're heading into the street next week, and I cannot wait to talk about some Punisher after. That is like the ultimate palate cleanser after trying to shove Count down your fucking throat.
So angry, Jesus.
But all right, let's get into plugs, man. What's your plugs?
Oh, hang on. Our next 3 source materials are Punisher Max Volume 5, The Slavers, and that's because we'll be reviewing Season 2 of The Punisher. DC Looney Tunes 2, Alita, Battle Angel, and we'll actually have somebody on that show that read the manga that Alita is based on, so that'll be fun.
Nice.
We have Emerald Twilight, which is February 25th, and then that same week we'll be reviewing Black Mirror Bandersnatch. Bandersnatch. It is Bandersnatch. Okay.
Yeah.
On the Metal Hammer of Doom, we've got A Pale Horse Named Death, Bring Me the Horizon, Beast in Black, Avantasia, and Dream Theater. We had to move The Crown. There was no way I could watch all 13 episodes of The Runaway Season 2, which we talked about last week, because this is February 4th.
Time travel.
But we were supposed to have talked about The Crown Season 2. We'll be doing that on the 21st of February because I could not fit 13 episodes of Runaways and then like how many episodes of The Crown. So we just delayed that for a few weeks. In the meantime, we've got an on trial for Pan's Labyrinth. And then at the end of the month, February 28th, we'll be doing a TV party tonight for Carmen Sandiego, the new animated show on Netflix. Plus, we've got 2 boxing commentaries. We, real quick, we just did 2 back-to-back commentaries this past week. 3, actually. We did, we finally sat Jesse down, and he watched Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That was fun. Mm-hmm. And then after that, we did a commentary for Thurman versus Josecito Lopez, which was boxing on Big Fox. And then I didn't realize it, but that same night, Ryan Bader was fighting Fedor Emelianenko in Bellator in their finals of the heavyweight Grand Prix. It wasn't so much of a fight as it was a mugging.
Goodness.
So myself, Robert Winfrey, and Pat jumped back on the computer and did an impromptu commentary. It did not take. We took longer setting up the fight, talking about it, than the fight actually took.
Damn.
Yeah. So go ahead and check those out. This February 2nd, we've got Sergey Kovalev. This will have already taken place. Go back and check out Sergey Kovalev versus Eliander Alvarez. We might do Davis versus Abner Mares. I'm not sure yet. It's on Showtime. Pat may or may not watch it. If he doesn't, then we're not doing it. But we are definitely doing Leo Santa Cruz versus Miguel Flores, which is once again back on Big Fox. Big Fox, Jesse. Big tings.
Big tings happen on Big Fox, baby.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, sir?
I'm going to go blow my nose and my head off.
All right. It's all that continuity snot gets
That's what happens. We start reading. You know what? I wasn't sick till I read the fucking Search for Ray Palmer, and then I got projectile leprosy is what happened.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'll throw the old can plugs in here at the end. So that's Mark Radulich. I'm Jesse Starcher. We'll catch you next week. Y'all have a good one. Bye-bye. Thank you all for joining us. Make sure to give that Radulich in Broadcasting Facebook page a like to stay up on top of all the great podcasts we have to offer. We are at home on Spreaker, but you can also find us on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and recently we have hit the air on Spotify. Find your favorite podcast platform and type in RADULICH to subscribe for some great content. If you enjoyed this show, please feel free to share and spread the word. And as always, we appreciate any feedback and look forward to entertaining you again soon. Do not lay down and eat that bread. You hear me? Shut the door.
You can start the podcast real now.
Tonight, we're going to be diving into some DC multiverse. That's right. Get your tissues ready. Bloody noses will be happening all day long. Flash tries to do
Surprise! You're dead! Ha ha ha! It never ends! God, that's how I felt reading that book.
Another monitor arrives. We got all sorts of monitors.
The hall monitor, computer
Another
monitor,
Did you say the baby monitor?
the baby monitor. It was when the baby monitor arrived that all hell broke out. Because that baby monitor just walked around like, it was like, just toddling over things, knocking shit over.
Would not shut up. I mean, just drooled everywhere. It was bad.
Shit on everything the baby monitor did. It's just terrible. Turns out that baby monitor was actually Baby Darkseid.
Oh my goodness. Swerve, bro.
Projectile leprosy, Jesse. Everyone's going to get projectile leprosy.
No, it's 1-star review. Listen to your show, and I got projectile leprosy. Okay.